Good morning, seventh graders. Happy Thursday. I don't know what day it is. Happy Thursday. Welcome back. You guys did a really nice job. Wagner and I went through all of your topics and we read through them and made sure that they were spot on. And you guys did a really nice job. There's some really interesting topics that I'm excited to read your papers already. So yesterday, you were supposed to go and kind of just start your research, right? Start thinking about what are 1 to 2 places where I might be able to find some information for my topic. And today we're really going to dive into that. We're really going to figure out where you can find information. So our teaching point for today I want to teach you that writers read with a critical eye and note the roles the author plays, the evidence the author seems to value and to ignore, and how it can work into my writing. So this is really one of those days where our reading and writing are combined because we're reading with a critical eye to help our writing. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about today is what it means, like a contradiction versus a connection, because a big part of research is contradictions and connections. So a connection is a relationship between two things. This is probably a word you're pretty familiar with, right? Create a connection. Okay. A contradiction is ideas that are opposite of one another. So if there's a contradiction, it means the two ideas do not match. Okay, so I want you to think about why that might be important in research. And we're going to kind of talk about it as we continue to go through the teaching today. So when you are reading information from a source, you want to ask yourself, how is this information fitting with that information, right? How is this, that was not what I wanted to do. How is this information fitting with that information, right? So oh my goodness. Sorry, kiddos. If you already have some sort of information and you find new information, are they connecting or are they contradicting? Is there a relationship between the two of them? Or are they opposite? Are they kind of butting heads? Okay, what is the source of this information? Like I said, does it connect or contradict my points? So you want to read all this research and not just think, oh, I read it, I'm good. This fits in my paper. You want to read it with a critical eye. Okay, so that's what this last piece down here says. You want to read research with a critical eye, using each piece of research and evidence carefully and thoughtfully. So I'm going to scroll us down here to this handout. And it says questions to ask the text when reading with a critical eye. So these 4 questions are very important, and they're the 4 things that I want you to focus on as you start your research today. Okay, so number 1 is, how does the information presented connect with and or contradict information learned from other sources? So that was what we just talked about, right? Those important words, connection versus contradiction. Okay, so how do they match or how do they not match? The second one, who wrote it? What is his or her role? What does the author or sponsor stand to gain from this position? So we're going to look at an example of this in just a minute. But do you see on the side, it says, Why Coffee is Good by Starbucks. Okay. And I want you to think about that. Who wrote that paper, right? Starbucks wrote that paper, and Starbucks runs a coffee company. So of course they're going to release an article about why coffee is good because they want it to help their business. Right, so you really want to make sure you're looking at who wrote this and what was their purpose. What are they going to gain or lose from the article? The third bullet point says, are there patterns evident in the kinds and sources of information that have and have not been included or valued? So are you seeing patterns? Are the same things being repeated over and over again, whether that's important or unimportant? What's being valued? Are there things they're not mentioning, that they're not writing about? And the last one says, are there things in the source that give you a pause or make you uneasy? Sometimes this can be super powerful research, right? If it makes you stop in your tracks and think, I don't know what to think about that, or I wonder what that means. That can really, when you go to write your research paper, be a really powerful piece of evidence that you can use, right? Why did the author include this? What does this mean? So really quickly, I kind of want to be your guiding questions that you're reading as you read through your research. So if you're reading through an article and you're like, I can't figure out if this is a good one or not, come back to these 4 questions. Ask yourself these 4 questions. Think about what the answers are to these 4 questions. and then how that can help you decide whether it's valid or not. I want to look at a couple examples here. So the first one that I want to look at, it's from a kid named Nicholas. I don't know him. It's in your curriculum. But so he is reading about the backstory of the Riddell, I probably said that wrong, sorry, 360 helmet. Okay. So as he's reading, he's taking notes. He's underlining this. He states this again at the end. What do we know about repetition? I know you can't answer me, but what do we know about repetition? That when things repeat, it's important, right? Because authors never do anything by accident, right? I've told you guys that again and again. He gives a little square here. It says this helmet has the largest CC rotate in America. CC rate in America at 9.3%. Okay, so he's taking notes on the important details that he's seeing. He's going down here doing the same thing, but he's kind of getting a little bit skeptical here. If you see this, you're just bragging. This isn't a fact. This isn't new technology. It's the same helmet. You see, he's got a skeptical eye. He's thinking, I don't know what I think about this. When we move on to the second page, he really realizes that this is an ad. Okay. Ad is spelled with one D, but this is an ad. These are college football teams. It's all about the money. So once he read through it, he realized that the people writing this actually worked for this helmet company. So again, thinking about that second question, or that first question, second question, who wrote it and what is his or her role? So a company wrote it that is hoping to gain money from it. So you would look at this with a very critical eye, right? Because they want you to like their helmet. They want you to buy their helmet because they want to make money. Looking at one more example, it's actually the same article. It's just a different example from a different student. And she kind of goes in with a skeptical eye, which is what I'm going to push you guys to do is as you go into these articles and websites that you're reading, go in pretty skeptical, right? Because we don't know. There's so much stuff on the internet and you just don't know. So go in pretty skeptical, questioning, right? Thinking, who's writing this? What's the purpose? So this line right here, it says for Riddell's product development team, these aren't mere words. And then she says, yeah, well, it's your company. For this one, it's obvious that the game of football is evolving, as are the protective needs of players. She says, you just make players look good, not safe. So she's kind of questioning the design of the helmet. Right here, she says, repetition of making, sorry, I can't read what that word says. Okay, she's saying that she's trying to persuade the consumers that the brand is trustworthy, right? And then she says it feels like an ad. This is starting to feel like an ad. Again, just continues to question, where's the science behind this? Does this help scientifically? Maybe it looks good, but what actually helps the athlete, right? So she's going in with a lot of questions that really aren't getting answered. So in my opinion, this probably wouldn't be a great place for you guys, or a great article for you to use in your research, because it just doesn't seem, when you're looking at who wrote it and what are they gaining, it wouldn't be a super helpful article because the person that wrote it works for the company, right? You want to look for people that have done the research, that have facts for your topic. So your task today, each of you have one of these assigned to you, is to find 3 to 4 resources that offer good quality information to support your topic. So you're going to be adding to this research on Friday. So I want you to start with 3 to 4 sources. And then on Friday, Wagner and I will have gone through and added comments just like we did yesterday, and you're going to add some more research on Friday. But I want you to start with 3 to 4 because I want them to be really solid. So we're starting small, and then tomorrow we'll add another probably 3 to 4 sources. But be sure to consider who is writing the information, when the information was written, where you found the information, and how it helps or hurts your argument, right? Does it contradict or does it connect? This document is pretty blank because, as always, I want you to set up a note-taking system that works for you. This is how we always run things, right? You set up what works for you. So maybe your notes from your research, you want to include links to the articles with different notes. Maybe you want to take notes while you're reading the articles on this. Maybe you want to copy and paste different quotes into this into this form. It's totally up to you. You create a note-taking system that works for you. Okay. So I will post this document so that you have this chart on Classroom. You each have a copy of the task. Again, I'm having office hours from 8:30 to 9:30 and 12:30 to 1:30. So if you need anything, I'm available by email pretty immediately at that time, or if you want to hop in to the Google Hangout, I am there by video to help answer your questions in virtual person. So if you have questions, please let me know. If not, work hard and let's get this done.